Good evening, sir. My name is Reshma and I am from CSC B section. My roll number is 234G1A05D1. Now I am going to present an PPT. Topic I got is PN junction diode. So I am going to present an PPT upon the topic PN junction diode. So our first slide is outline, which contains the important topics which I am going to explain. The headings will be represented here. First thing is what is PN junction, and next is P-type semiconductor, N-type semiconductor, forward bias, reverse bias, advantages, and conclusion. Last point is moving to next slide. What is PN junction? PN junction, when a P-type semiconductor is suitably joined to N-type semiconductor. The contact surface is called PN junction. So we can clearly observe here, PN junction means combination of P-type semiconductor and N-type semiconductor. Then the combination is known as PN junction. And the contact surface, which is the combination of P and N type semiconductors, is known as PN junction. So I have introduced an image also for the clear information. Moving to next slide. N-type semiconductor. N-type, when a small amount of pentavalent impurity is added. Pure semiconductor is known as N-type semiconductor. Here we have to observe one thing. Pentavalent impurity only, not anything, is added to pure semiconductor. Then it will form into N-type semiconductor. So I have represented an image also here. Moving to next slide, which is P-type semiconductor. When a small amount of trivalent impurity is added to a pure semiconductor is known as P-type semiconductor. In N-type we have observed pentavalent. Here P-type we have added trivalent impurity. It is the difference to N-type and P-type. We need to observe it. And I have represented an image also here. You can observe. Moving to next slide, biasing a PN junction. In a relation to a PN junction, there are two bias conditions. In a PN junction, we have two conditions. First one is forward biasing and second one is reverse biasing. Moving to next slide. First one, forward biasing. When a voltage is applied across a diode in such a way that the diode allows current and potential barrier reduced, the diode is said to be forward biased. In forward biasing, clearly mentioned, it allows current and the potential barrier will be reduced. We can observe here P-type, N-type and holes, free electrons. We can observe in this image. Moving to next slide. In forward bias means, in previous slide we have observed what is forward bias. In this slide we are observing what will be the process happens in forward bias. So first point is no current flows until the barrier voltage 0.3 is overcome. Then the curve has linear rise and the current increase with the increased forward voltage above the 3V. The majority carriers passing the junction gain sufficient energy to knock. Therefore, the forward current increase sharply. Moving to next slide. Reverse biasing. Second thing it is, when the voltage is applied across the diode in such a way that the diode prohibits current, potential barrier increase. In forward, we have observed that current prohibits here. In reverse, in forward, it allows. So potential barrier increased here, whereas in forward, we observe that the potential is reduced. So here I have represented an image also about reverse biasing. In reverse bias, the process and the working which is going in the reverse bias. Junction resistance, potential barrier increase. So I have said in previous slide, potential barrier will be increased, whereas in reverse bias, when reverse voltage is increased beyond a value called breakdown voltage, reverse current increase sharply. About 25 reverse voltage destroys the junction permanently. Means about 25 voltage in reverse bias, the junction will be destroyed. So we need to keep in mind important point. Moving to advantages. Advantages of PN junction diode. No filament is necessary. Occupies lesser space and long life will be provided in PN junction. Whereas the last slide is about conclusion. PN junctions are composed of N-type and P-type semiconductor materials. I have said in previous slides also in the starting, PN junctions are composed of N-type and P-type. The combination of N-type P-type only be said as PN junctions. N-type has more concentration of electrons and P-type has more concentration of holes. It is a difference between them. During forward bias, the diode conducts current with increase in voltage, Whereas during in reverse bias, the diode does not conduct with increase in voltage. Breakdown usually results in damage of diode. So we can clearly observe here, increase in voltage will be happened in forward bias. There will be no increase in voltage in reverse bias. Thank you very much, sir.